Welcome to Warblog. Today, looking at something a little different, a new feature. Well, it's not necessarily a new feature, something that's been under development for a while, and that's the journal. So essentially what I'm going to be doing is converting a lot of these games into a journal that I'm writing. You get the idea in a minute. I mean, it's not a spectacular journal, but basically it's something that I put into play when I did the basically I'm hovering over this because I've done it to this one. So when if you recall a while back now, you probably be able to see the videos, I launched the quiz. And the quiz I did at the same time as I set up all the infrastructure for the journal. I just did them both at the same time, because they're sort of working along the same lines really, although to be quite honest, they're not at all. But anyway, so I did that. So if this isn't just something I've done now. It's been something I've been working on, thinking about for a long while actually. I mean, even doing what I did back then was something that I'd been planning for a long while. But I'm just going to show it to you now. So basically, what we have here, and I've chosen the first scenario that I ever did. You can tell it's the first one because it doesn't have the name in it. It says Florida, which is some reason I called it, as a file name, and it's stuck. But this is the first one, Ararak of 2013. It's actually changed a lot since I first wrote it. Map wise, didn't have any bridges back then. There were a few other things. I don't think it had these urban and light urban hexes. Well, it might have, I don't know. But anyway, I didn't have objectives when we first did it, and this one's actually got objectives just because I've just done them now. Anyway, I'll just stop warbling on about that. I mean, it was the first one, and I'm sort of, I'm quite happy with. If I do this, I can do it like that, can't I? Yeah, so you can see it's the first one. So the thing is, I've been going back and doing them. For example, on here, this has all been tidied up and getting a video for each one. And so, the point is, I'm not making these scenarios up and forgetting them. I think that's maybe the point I'm trying to get to. Every one is sort of, fairly significant. In particular, this one of my favourites, Operation Modular. I still haven't done it justice, and it's part of the Kuta Kanave scenario. I know about 4 different parts of it, and it's just such an interesting battle, and I still haven't done it justice in its own right. But the point is, I will come back to it, and I've actually come back to this one a little, but I really need to actually sit down and just sort Kuta Kanave out properly, because that's all I've done on it, and it was the third one I did. Really, I'm thinking, I'll get that one done. But the point is, I can come back to these. Now, some of them, this one is an overview, so it'll be a little tougher, although to be quite honest, I could come back and look at this as an overview again, because I know a lot more about the immense Civil War now. But the point is, they're all designed to come back to. I'm not just doing them and leaving them, and some of them aren't even done yet. So I'm working from the back going forward, because Araka was clearly a significant event. I mean, what I'm trying to get to, it was a battle in its own right, and then studying it is, it's not like one of these sort of incidents where ISIS advanced here and it wasn't even really a battle. It was just more like a skirmish or something like that. I mean, this is something that is the first city that they actually took. That's really strange. It says Yemen Civil War. Could it be that this has been under the wrong category since the very start? I doubt it. I bet I did something. I bet I changed it. Okay. Anyway, not to worry. Anyway, so we're getting down here. So basically, what am I talking about? It's only been 4.5 minutes. But what I'm talking about is the journal. So let's just squidge down. Well, let's just look at it. You're looking at this journal entry. So basically, forget the video, and there's the quiz down the bottom there. But basically, what I'm trying to do is to write up about the whole thing. So obviously the Battle of Raqqa, March 2013, took place over 4 days. Now, Wikipedia says 3 days. It says the 3rd to the 6th. But one of the links I've got down there says it sort of started on the on the 2nd, so I've actually changed that. It involved the units from the Munster Billah Brigade, FSA, Free Syrian Army, Jabhat al-Nusra, Ahrar al-Sham, part of the Syrian Islamic Front, and the brigade of the Huthaya bin al-Yaman against the elements of the Syrian 17th Division. Now, I got most of that just from Wikipedia. But basically, what we're talking about here is a sort of more of an article that is designed to describe what happened. And and then it's got the pictures. Now it's all formulated, so that's the whole point, and it helps me. And then I just print a print button at the end of whenever, and I can print it out, a book for which I'm going to put on Amazon, except put on Amazon. That's it, as a Kindle book or something, and print on demand. So at the moment, well, the thing is, this is actually a little difficult for me in the sense that I just really didn't have the time to do it, and I sort of almost forced myself. And I think this is a sort of difficult battle, but quite a lot of them will be quite difficult as well. And it's not simple to understand what's happening or who's doing what. I couldn't really find out what happened on day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. I've got an indication of some of those dates. For example, I can say here. On the 4th, the main city square was taken. So what we're looking at is, sort of a narrative description of the game with annotated graphics, or just graphics, but with options for annotation. I was going to do them better, but I still think this will it will suffice. I like it. I like the drawing style, but and the intention. I just sort of got an idea of how Kindle will work. People say, "Oh, it's got all these hand drawings in it, rubbish." So, but I think it will do because everything else is tidy enough. But anyway, so you just get a whole bunch of blurb about it, and then what you can see here is this is the overall sort of description. So that's just what I'm talking about. So they've advanced for the north and the east. And then in this one, you've got obviously some movement. So you've got these units coming down, as you can see, and you've got these units are interfacing from the north, these ones coming in from the east. So if you know hex and counter games, this will make sense to you. If you don't, then it probably be a bit more obscure, but even so, I think most people would figure it out. Here you've obviously got the rebels a lot closer, but we've also got is this unit fleeing to the east, and these units moving down there. Now I have actually got them in this one, so as you can see, they've now fled. Now one of the things that, well, let's not worry about that, and then you get the sort of the end. So basically, we're just talking about things now. What I'm trying to do is to have what I'm talking about match up with the picture in some way. So after the fall of the city, the Syrian Air Force carried out 25 airstrikes against the city in the hope of dislodging the rebel force. And then there's the graphic. Syrian Arab Air Force carried out 25 airstrikes, and there's the picture of it. So you'd have to know what that is. I've just superimposed it on there. So I'm going to do, that's not maybe as nice as it could be, but I'm going to be putting in these sorts of things, and try and make obviously the graphic match the text in some way. So here I'm probably talking about how the Syrian army actually sort of didn't put up a fight and they just left. Only some of the units stayed behind to fight, the loyalists. But yeah, so that's it really. I mean, that's pretty much what I'm doing. So I'll be obviously. I think I could probably put in more text. As I said, I don't know what happened on a day-by-day basis. Otherwise, I've got an inclination here. But if I could, it appears that the Ahrar al-Sham led the offensive. So we can say on day 1, Ahrar al-Sham entered the northern areas of the city. But there's nothing really greater than that. We've got they attack the city and then then they've taken it over, and a lot of stuff coming after that. So it's actually quite difficult to actually get the full history. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure I can sort of maybe take it a step further and do some more work. This is one that I found interesting. There's obviously the Wikipedia, but this link on which just happens to be on the Raqqa thing, had a fair amount of detail. It was written in 2013, but it's got all this stuff about the structure of these companies, and it's got a Raqqa timeline, which is fantastic. When it gets up to well, when was it? March the 2nd. It starts talking about how Ara al-Sham leads the offensive, leads the alliance in a large-scale attack on the city of Raqqa, and it also starts talking about a lot of other things, but it doesn't actually say anything about the 3rd. It skips all the way on to the 5th, when they've pretty much done it. The 6th, as far as Wikipedia is concerned, is the last sort of date of the offensive. This is an interesting reference. Prisoners are promised safe passage for surrender and later exterminated. Possible war crimes. But anyway, so thing is, I can go back, and if I can find out more details, I can. And with a Kindle book, if I did something significant, I just republish it, and print on demand, same thing. But this is pretty much it, really. It's just a structure that I'm developing. So again, I'll be able to write reasonable amount of text, nice picture, reasonable amount of text, nice picture. Hopefully go a bit further than just single lines, 2 lines maybe, but it starts to pick up again. But I want there to be a good balance of words in there, so I could probably try and fill these things out with something. But again, trying to synchronize it with the images is easier said than done. And then obviously after this, I can do other scenarios. Now, the scenario has to really have a little more substance to it so that I can actually write about it. There's another one of these sort of tormenting me games I haven't finished yet. I haven't even done the map. But for things like Salvador Pass, there's just not going to be enough background to write sort of all of that. So they're never really going to get into the journal. But what I might do is, maybe put one of these in, and then just have 2 images and 2 sets of text. What I'm aiming for is 10 articles per volume. So if I can write another big one, I can probably throw in a few of these small ones. That might work. But this probably wouldn't, because it's actually the only reference I got was from a book that leaves it sort of feeling very sort of dubious as to sort of like its historical accuracy. Where did I get this one from? Is it the Mark Urban book? It's from the New York Times. Alright, no. This is this is 2019, so it's obviously not from one of those old books. But anyway, the point is, and there's this one as well. If we look at this is going to be a big game. I'm happy with the map. I just don't know why I haven't finished it yet. It just sort of gets lost in there. But I could probably do more than 5 pictures for this, but I can't because I'm limited to 5 pictures. But I could probably put in stonking amounts of text in between each photo. So that's pretty much it, really. I mean, it's not rocket science. I'm not going to sort of labour it too much because it is what it is. It's the journal, and it's going to be called the War Blog Modern War Journal, Journal of Modern War, something like that. I can't even remember what I'm going to call it now, but something along those lines. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, and obviously look out for the journal entries. I will be posting them on Twitter and Facebook and whatever sort of social media platform will take my text. So keep an eye out, and I'll speak to you later. Cheerio.